Hello everyone and welcome. It's Shanna. Today we're going to be working with this Wishful Roses stamp set, and I'm also going to be bringing in my new Waffle Flower Grip Mat that I just got in the mail. This will be the first time I use it. I'm going to go ahead and lay this grid down that came with it underneath there. I don't know if I really need it, but I'm going to lay it down in there, and we'll just get the protective sheets pulled off of this grip mat, and we'll get it laid down in the Misty. I'm going to try and line it up a little bit better here with this grip mat, and we'll just get it laid down in there. I'm going to use this with this stamp set, and I'm just getting my magnets out of the way and trying to get it lined up. Um, Now, this Gina K stamp set I got in the mystery box is one of them. I got in the mystery box the other day in the mail, and I did a live where I opened them up and showed everything that came in the mystery box. So if you're interested in checking that out, I can link it in the description or up above if you want to see it. Now this is a layering stamp. These are roses, and they've got the um, the outline stamp, and then they've got a layering stamp, and then a detail stamp. Now I'm just bringing in wishing you a lifetime of happiness. I'm going to get it laid down on this A2 size panel that I've got here. And I'm going to bring in a couple flowers, and you'll see me fool around with which ones I want to use. And I'm trying to arrange them kind of close together because I'm going to cut this panel down. And so I'm just trying to figure out which ones will play nicely together from basically the stem standpoint. I kind of want them to look like they're together, and I'm trying to decide how to arrange them. Now, I'll tell you, my lighting, we've got some challenges on this video because it's a real sunny day. Not going to complain about that at all, but you're going to see some sun rays. You can see it on my arm down there. For the most part, my desk will be okay because I've put up a panel to kind of block the desk area, but when I hold stuff up, you'll see some bright sunny rays, but otherwise it'll be okay. So I'm just going to condition this by rubbing my fingers across it and getting all the, I don't know, sticky junk from the factory or whatever off of it. And then I'm going to bring in just my Gina K inks. Now I have this slate, and that's what I'm inking this up with. And I will tell you, I have a very limited supply of Gina K inks. And I just bought one pack of them, minis that have some in there, and that's all I've got. I predominantly use the Distressed Oxide inks, and I think you'd be surprised at how little um, supplies I have from an inking standpoint, and making, having a channel and making cards and stuff. But I've got a little spot on here on the one flower that's not inking up, and so I'm going to give everything an ink again, and you'll see me kind of fuss with that, but eventually we'll get it inked up. There's probably some extra sticky on there I didn't get off or whatever. But I'm getting the wishing you, and I'm being real careful with that a lifetime of happiness because I don't want to smush that and make it look messy. So you can see I'm working on that corner trying to get it just how I want it. And I'm trying to decide where it is that I need to ink. So I just did that little area there, and I'm going to give it a press, and I think we got it. Yep, we do. Okay, just going over the wishing you again because I want it to be a really good press. And I think that looks really, really good. I'm going to add another inking to the wishing you and just get it real bold. And look how pretty that is. So we're going to go with this. Now I bring in my little water sprayer, and then I decide I'm going to get my stamp chamois. So I went and wet it down and brought it in just to clean it off. And I think once I get these removed, I'm going to dry that up a little bit since I did spray water because I don't want to mess this card base up. So we'll get these stamps off, and we'll just dry that up with some paper towel. That way I don't have to worry about making a mess. Now I'm going to grab the layering stamps for each one of these flowers. Now these are the solids, so this will put a solid background on there, and I'm just trying to line them up real perfectly, and I'm going to get the one for the other rose that's on there and line it up. Now I'm going to jump, I'll edit out, I don't think with these, but you'll see I'll do some editing where it might jump a bit just because I'm trying to keep my head out of the camera, but I was able to get these lined up fairly well. And I'm just studying them to make sure that I've done a decent job lining it up because it's a bold color I'm going to put on there. And I'm just conditioning these as well. And I'm going to bring in Tangerine Twist. And I'm choosing it because, like I said, I'm very limited on the colors that I have. And we'll just cross our fingers and hope that I got this lined up fairly close. And I did. So we'll ink it up again because I can still see some white spots. And we'll try to get those filled in. I'm just using my pressing tool that my stepdad made for me and just helping with the pressing. Now I think maybe I have a bubble on it, so I'm just lifting them. I'm not lifting the whole thing, just enough to maybe release a bubble, but not move the stamp so I mess it up. And I think that takes care of my little issue with the spot that was undone. So it looks really vibrant. And we'll clean these up and we're going to, actually, we're going to move to the leaves because I want to allow that time to dry before I put the next layer on the roses. So I'm going to bring in these leaf stamps and figure out how they line up. And you'll see I fool with them. Actually needed to turn it over to get it to line up right. And we'll grab the other one and we'll get it lined up as well. And then we're going to bring in our key lime. And we're going to ink them up with the key lime. And this is just kind of a yellow-green that we're going to use on here. And we'll get them inked up. Now, there wasn't a stamp for the stem. And I almost grabbed the tangerine again, but I grabbed the key lime, and I'm going to do it again. And then, to add a little bit of dimension, I'm going to use the Lucky Clover and just kind of press on the edges. I'm not going to fully ink these. I'm just going to blot some ink in some different areas and just add a little darker color so that we'll have some dimension and interest to our leaves. And we'll clean them up. Now you can see I've got my jammies on. Last night we played games and stuff, and I was kind of feeling like maybe I was getting a sore throat or something. And so I was chilled. So I put my favorite winter pajamas, which are Christmas pajamas, on, and I wore those. And I took a little bit of medicine, and I feel much better today. I don't know if it was just allergies or what. So I'm trying to get this lined up, and this is where I kind of move a little bit because I had my head in there, and I didn't think you needed to see my scalp. And look at the detail on that stamp. Isn't that pretty? Now I just used the coral reef for that. It's a little bit darker and laid it down on there, and that gives me some dimension on my card. And I think it looks pretty good. So I'm going to just leave it be. And I thought, ooh, I got to get something to get this off here because I didn't want to tear my paper, but I just used my pokey tool. And look at that, isn't that pretty? Now, I don't have anything to stamp up those stems, so I'm just going to grab one of my alcohol markers, and hopefully it'll work okay with the slate Gina K ink that I used. And it's a dye ink, so I think I got pretty lucky that it worked out all right. And I just went real lightly. Wasn't even worried about making sure I covered the whole thing. Just a real light touch with this. And there we go. So I've got that. And I'm going to bring in my Jelly Roll White number 10 and just clean up any little dots that I see that might need cleaned up. And now I'm going to, I'm going to cut it down. And I'll cut it down to 3 3/4 by 5. I want to trim off all the way around. So I'll take 1/4 of an inch off of each side. And we'll have 3 3/4 by 5. as our finished panel. And I mean, with a stamp set, boom, you've got a card. Add a couple sheets of, you know, add a background sheet and a card base, and you've got a card. And I think it's a very pretty card with just, you know, the one panel. Now, this was one of the stamps, and I laid it on there wrong. I'm like, what am I doing? Anyway, this was one of the stamp sets in that mystery box, but it did not have dies with it. In that, you got several stamp sets, and I got two with coordinating dies. And this was one of them that did not have the coordinating die. So I'm going to bring in I think my card base. I'll bring it in and I'll get it scored down, and then we can begin building our card elements. Now, I've been having some technical difficulties. My phone went kaput, and I had to get a new phone and trying to get it up and running. I wasn't, because it went completely kaput, I couldn't transfer a lot of stuff. So I'm having to rebuild basically what I've got. And I've been using some other things for my videoing. And so if my sound quality or picture quality isn't what you're used to seeing, it's because I'm working through some technology issues. So hopefully this is decent and you can hear okay and the quality is okay. So I've laid that black panel down, and in true Gina K style, I'm going to have that 1/8 of an inch black peeking behind my panel. And so we'll just get this laid down on there. We'll have that nice little black edge that Gina always has on her cards. And I think it looks pretty good. I'm going to bring in these Spellbinders enamel dots that I have, and I'm going to add some enamel dots next to the cinnamon and on both sides of my flowers, creating our nice little triangle um, on our card and just filling in some of the white space. And I think this turned out really nice. It's very simple, very clean, and I think it's really pretty. Now, what I wish I would have videoed is I made a gift card pocket for the inside of it in black. And I should have videoed that because I make my own and they're very simple. Basically, you just need to cut down some paper, do some scoring, and then glue it up for that. And it makes really nice gift card pockets. Now, I'm just using the Jelly Roll pen and I'm adding some highlighting to the roses. And so you'll just see me go all over it and kind of add some highlighting. And I'll go over it twice because it does dry back. And I'm just trying to add a little bit of highlight to these roses because I did use two very dark colors. And so we'll just add some highlight and that'll pretty much finish up our card. And there's lighter areas from the tangerine, and so I'm just kind of going in some of those lighter areas, using that as a guide for where I'm laying these down. And I probably didn't need to do this, but it was just an extra thing that I kind of decided at the last minute to do and just to add some highlights to it. And then that'll finish up our card. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.